A continuing exploration of cultures and people we share this country with. Colorful encounters with Filipinos who can, if we let them, enrich our own worldviews, our knowledge of ourselves. Nourishing, sheltering, healing, adorning. Celebrating the manifold ways of being Filipino. This is Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride. In our last exploration of Dayaw, we experienced dance, music, and chanting, all coming together as ritual. And while we often see rituals as performances staged for our own entertainment, we often overlook a deeper meaning: healing, the restoration of order and well-being, the coming together of a community to address their fears and aspirations. At the heart of these rituals is the shaman, the healer, the medium, traditional spiritual leaders whose knowledge of the spiritual and the natural world make them indispensable to their communities. Singer, researcher, and activist Grace Nono, who has written a book on her experiences with Filipino Babaylans, introduces us to their world. A world that may seem archaic and outmoded to us, but is still relevant to the communities the Babaylans serve.
It was in the 17th or some say 16th century when European travelers first met what is referred to as a shaman in the northern or southern steppes of Siberia. And since then, the word was used to describe ritual specialists from different parts of the world. Now, this is a contentious point because some say, don't call our ritual specialist shaman because it's called differently in our culture. So we have to be very careful about using that term that has been used to universalize all similar practitioners, and that there's a limit to that kind of generalizing. But there are ritual specialists like that found in different places in the Philippines, and here the most popular name for that kind of ritual specialist is the Babaylan. You have to be very careful about confusing the shaman or the Babaylan with the doctor. They are two different kinds of practitioners. The doctor will look for the symptoms and try to address the symptoms that are physiological in nature or psychological. But the shamans, the Babaylan, specialize in conditions that are traced to spiritual causes. And the way that the Babaylan would do it is not just to focus on the illness, but to look for the spiritual conflicts. Usually the illnesses are traced to relational problems. A lot of them do not practice out in the open. They practice in their respective communities. They have people who go to them when they have the need, but they are not recognized by, say, the medical mainstream as legitimate healthcare providers. So there is kind of marginalization there.
It was through Grace that we met the Baylans of Agusan. Traveling through the Agusan marshlands was the start of the journey. The unique natural environment was an apt introduction into the mindset of a Babaylan.
We have to realize that not just the Babaylan, but a lot of indigenous communities treat the natural world not just an economic resource, which is really how many of the modern peoples treat the land. It's just a source of you just harvest whatever you need, the timber, the gold, the minerals, it's just a source of wealth for, for people. But to the Babaylan and to many indigenous communities, the land is the dwelling of the spirits and the creator. So the land is sacred. So to maintain harmonious relationships with the dwellers of the land, with the spirits of the land, you have to acknowledge and to treat it as a living thing, a sacred thing.
Among the Agusanon of Sitio Panabuan, we met with Remy Reyes, known all over the marshlands as a powerful baylan. A quiet, soft-spoken man, he shared his own views on the responsibility of being a baylan.
Sa ako lang experience na ako isip babaylan, dili sa ingon nga sa pagkatao nako nga babaylan, kung dili kung unsay maayo nga pagbuhat di sa ato ang kinayahan, diha ko nagsugod. Kung unsa nimo pag-amping nimo sa lugar o labi na sa mga tao o pagrespeto, labi na sa mga mali nga mga pamaagi, mutong akong giampingan, isubay na ako ang maayo nga mga tumong sa akong lolo. Nga ingon, bisan walay grado, importante ang kamaayo. Wala ko nagdahom nga mahimo kong babaylan, kaysa ingon sa kasaysayan, sa history sa babaylan, bisan si kinsa pa nga tao, pwede duulan og baylan kung maayo maayo ang imuhang kasing-kasing. Kung mali ang imong kasing-kasing, dili ka kabalo mo dala sa imong sa isig ka tao, munang dili mo duol ang baylan. Mao nay aisip sa ako ang pagkakaron nga ingon nga babaylan. Tanan-tanan tao pwede mahimong babaylan kung maayo ang imuhang kabubuton sa imong isig ka tao.
Baylan Remy's guide and source of power is a spirit of his grandfather, who possesses him during healing ceremonies. In front of a makeshift altar lit by 3 candles, with gifts of eggs, food, and soda, Remy conducted a healing ceremony using the smoke from a lit cigarette.
Sa akong nabalhan, kung gusto jud ka nga naa ang mga spirit sa imuhang lawas, mismo lang sa imuha lang paggikan sa imong balay, muampo na kadaan manguros. Ginoo, hatagi ko sa ako ang pagbiyahe nga walay mga disgrasya. Dili nako mabalhan ang tanan. Kaysa akong nabalhan sa akong pagkatao, murag nawala ang original nako nga pagkatao.
From other baylans of Agusan, more insights into the world of the spirits, as well as a difficult process of becoming a baylan.
Nagsimula yan pag may makikita sa pamilya or sa mismong maging healer, maging baylan. Ngayon, oo, modern na, high-tech na yung mga teknolohiya. Pero para sa amin, lalo na kami ng mga katutubo, ay nandun pa rin. Dahil parang nasa dugo namin.
Slowly, we've begun to see the island of Siquijor in a new light. Where once we saw only horror stories and voodoo, we now hear about healing practices that connect to the natural order. No scientific explanations will ever suffice or connect or explain methods used in Mambobolo or by the Mananambal. Still, the continued support of many Filipinos and even foreigners points to an efficacy that is best experienced rather than explained. If the Agusan shaman uses cigarette smoke to heal, Guillermo Yungod uses a glass of water and a straw. By passing the glass over the deceased or afflicted part of the body of one who has come for healing, and simultaneously blowing into it, impurities and other causes of pain and illness are removed. The manifestations of these melodies are seen as the water in the glass gradually becomes cloudy with particles. The sound of bubbling as the glass is passed over the body has given the process its onomatopoeic name, bolo-bolo.
Ipagtambal, ubusang sa kabuta makuha siya ang sakit, munang mabaluan siya. Kay klase biya ang sakit sa tao. Nang kuhan sa tubig, munang mabaluan siya o unsay isagikan sakita na magikan. Akong gigamit sa mga tao nga moduol dire ang gisaligan ako ang orasyon. Ako ang kuhan sa ona uyuan o gapuhan, mutambal po to sila. Natimaan ako sila raman itong duha. Itong ako ang apuan o kong uyuan. Dahil ang Siquijor magod, namagod ta ng tambal dire. Ang parte sa mga herbal bitaw, natanan nila Siquijor.
Siquijor is equally famous for another kind of healer, the Mananambal. Using a combination of coconut oil into which secret herbs have been soaked, as well as secret prayers or orasyon, Mananambal, like Noel, Torremocha, have been providing assistance and healing to residents in the far-flung areas who may have little or no access to scientific medicine. And yet, the generations who have sought healing from Mananambal, like Noel, have put their faith in his abilities.
May dasal, may yan, ritual kasi sekreto mo yan sa iyo yan. Hindi yan sa huwag mo ipalabas, ipaano sa mga tao. Pag magamot ka, yan ang mo, ritual, saka dasal. Ito siguro ibinigay siguro dito sa Panginoon, dito sa Siquijor kasi matindi ang mga dito punong kahoy. Mga manggagamot, lahat manggagamot dito nakapunta pag Holy Week. Wala doon sa ibang lugar, wala yung kahoy. Yung tagnipas, wala doon sa Mindanao, wala sa Cebu, wala sa Luzon. Dito lang dito lang yan, yung mga panipas. Dito yan, yung mga taga Mindanao, dito yan nakaano mga kahoy. Lahat ng na importante. Dito sila nakapunta. Ang niluluto namin pag Holy Week, yan ang alkontra. Yan ang pagpaayos sa pag may sakit ng tao. Paalisin natin yan. Kung makilala ka, mapunta dito sa bahay, tulungan natin kung ano problema. Ano problema mo? May sakit ako kasi dati doon ako sa doktor. Hindi alam yung sa doktor, wala akong findings. Ay, masama yon. Anong problema? Tulungan natin. Kasi kilala naman ako.
Noel diagnosed a patient with cyst, a patient who had chosen to come back to Noel for treatment even after a hospital doctor had already made a diagnosis.
May sakit siya dito sa may babaw sa tutoy niya, may bukol, marami pa siyang malamig sa katawan niya, panuhot, nagtuob siya para mawala ba. Masiyang nanay si Kuandre sa cyst niya. Natambalan man siya og kuan katong nasa gawa sa ginakaklap niya, lagay-lagay sa amo, unay itambal niya. Pwede siya pakuluin, inumin, pwede po mo yung Yung sariwa, ano mo, bubugoyin mo, ano mo dito sa mga bukol. Yan sa mga assist, mga guiter, ito, ang ipanggamot ito. Ito maganda sa gamot sa guiter. Yung guiter nga tugsik, yung sa ilalim, parang musudlot yung mata mo. Yan, ito ang ipainim mo, lagain mo, ipadry mo.
Hindi cancerous. Kasi may anak na din ako. Hindi siya parang buko lang talaga siya na normal. Parang lumalaki siya pag ma-stress ako. Ayoko pa natakot din ako. Then, tested and proven na din kasi ito. Doon sa Davao, nakadala na ako niyan. May kaibigan ako sa Intel na pulis. Maliit lang masyado. Dinagay ko dito kasi may cyst siya. Supposedly, operahan siya and then nagpumutok yung cyst. Pagpa-check up niya ng doktor, clear na yung cyst niya dito. Tested and proven na talaga yung dinala ko dati. Kaya yun ang ginaano ko ngayon. Unti-unti lumiliit naman, hindi na masyado namaga.
The ingredients for the healing balms Noel uses come from many sources, besides the standard herbs and roots.
Ito, sa umbin na to, ang lagay ito na wine, tanduay. Depende sa, kung may tsuktong ka, okay naman. Yung ito, sa arthritis, yung dilaw, saka luyan tapol, kasama to, kisol. Yan ang ingredients. Saka ganito sa langis, sa niyog, yung ipainim ng pag may nalalasong sa Makati, pwede yan, pwede haplas sa katawan, yan, pwede inumin. Lahat ang dami yung dala.
Our traditional medicine has a very strong scientific basis, except that the kind of science that we have learned in the schools is only one kind of science. In fact, there are many kinds of sciences. The kind of science that we learn from our experience in the university is based on the belief that everything is determined by physico-chemical forces. On the other hand, our idea of health and illness is based on the belief that diseases or illnesses are caused by a weakening of the self, weakening of the energetic being that is the self. The self is energy, and the most basic energy is the spiritual. Once we lose a sense of purpose in life, once the meaning of life is not clear to us, we weaken the spirit. And any weakness in the spirit will precipitate into weakness of the mind. Once the mind is weak, the emotions are affected. And once the emotions are affected, this will precipitate towards what we call the energy body or the vital body, or sometimes called the etheric body. And once it is in the etheric body, it's only a short time before it precipitates down to the physical body. Our healers, therefore, Babaylan, Mananambal, or the master of Mambobolo in Siquijor, all of these healers work on the basis of strengthening our energy bodies. Because we are bodies of energy. Once you strengthen the system, then we will be immune to disease.
Among the Tingyan of Abra, the Mandadawak are men and women who commune directly with the spirit world and who are endowed with the power to heal, to chant the ethics, to conduct rituals. The Mandadawak are also tasked with handling the Pinaing, the sacred stone deities kept in the entrances or in the centers of the village. The Pinaing ritual, in which the sacred stones are handled, anointed, symbolically dressed, and offered sacrifices, can only be conducted by the most important of Mandadawak, the Baglan. In Baglan of Abra, so distinguished, an office is held by Arsenio Bagay Jr., a father of two, still in his 30s. Junior, as he is affectionately called, is treated deferentially by all other remaining Mandadawak in Abra. His reputation as a powerful medium extends all the way to Kalinga, where he has been invited to negotiate in peace pacts. He has even been hired by Tingyan families in Manila to visit them for healing sessions. In this instance, he was invited by the community of Sitio Pugiit in Peñarubia to conduct a sacrifice for Pinaing stones that had been neglected for some time. The ritual begins when Arsenio addresses the Pinaing stones in the presence of the menfolk of Pugiit. Then he anoints them with coconut oil before transferring them to the center of the grove, where ritual paraphernalia has been set up. He symbolically dresses the stones in bark cloth headdresses that echo his own. Then, after chanting the prayers to the Pinaing spirits, the sacrificial hogs are killed. The meat cooked. And the menfolk eat. Arsenio's story parallels the journeys of many other Philippine shamans and healers.
Nung 15 years old po ako, niyayaya na ako sa mga espiritu. Pero linabanan ko, kung pwede lang sana ay ayaw ko kasi batang-bata pa ako. Noon, tumakbo ako sa Maynila para takbuhan ko sana para gusto ko kasi na makapag-aral. Wala pa akong 2 linggo, hindi na ako makatulog. Ganon, nagpapakita na yung mga ngipin, yung mga paa na nakasabit sa taas, mga mata, ganon yung pagkita ko sa kanin ay uod. Ganon ang pagkikita ko, kaya pumayat ako. Umuwi na ako sa Manambal. Tinanggap ko na, inumpisaan ko na magbaglan. Yan, hindi ko na mapigilan na sasanib na sila sa akin. Kung sasanib sila sa akin, parang nadaganan ako ng bato. Nawala na akong malay, hindi ko na, yung pagkikita ko sa mga tao na, kung nakasanib na sila sa akin, ang pagkita ko sa mga tao ay parang langgam na maliliit.
With such power comes the knowledge and mastery of the natural world.
Alam ko na dahon, mga ugat na ng panggamot ko sa mga tao. Kumbaga, susuka siya ng dugo, meron. Kung hindi siya makaihi, meron.
title of Baglan also comes with more joyful privileges. Like dispensing blessings on those who have sponsored the cause of the Pinaing ritual. Leading the menfolk as they play the gong and psalm after the ritual, entertaining the villagers with his ability to engage in chanted verbal jousts, and leading the villagers of Pugiya in a dance when the Pinaing ritual has come to an end. But when he is alone with his children at home, the realities of living in a modern world cannot be escaped. Arsenio's wife works abroad as a nurse. He is painfully aware that his decision to become a mandadawak at such a young age had cost him the chance of an education, something he will not deny his own children.
Pag-aral sa yung anak ko sana, hindi sana gumaya sa akin kasi wala akong aral na natapos hanggang third year high school lang po ang natapos.
So, masasabi mong ikaw na ang huling Baglan sa lahi niyo?
Sana
Masasabi
po,
mo
sir.
ba? Sana.
In the story of the young shaman from Abra, we feel the dilemma of a man who must live in two contrasting, often opposing worlds. The traditional world of the shaman, connected to nature and the spirits, responsible to his community and its traditions. But he must also dwell in the modern world where he must confront poverty, marginalization, neglect, the loss of the natural environment. It's actually a very tricky situation, one that requires great skill and conviction in order to survive, in order to keep the faith. How many more shamans and mediums still accept the reality of this struggle in their lives? One thing is for sure, in their struggles and in their secrets are more sources of Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.